Welcome to the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
A podcast for real people who love this crazy business.
The Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real people, not just sexy robots.
Real voice actors, real struggles, real laughs.
Warning, this podcast may contain brutal honesty and random cat stories.
This is where voice actors come to get real.
It's the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm Linda Bruno with my new formatted version of this podcast being a little more intimate and personal. You thought we were intimate and personal before, but now this is about topics that are hopefully interesting to you about the voiceover industry. And we're sticking to that and trying to keep these segments a little shorter, more concise. Okay. Today I'm flying solo because one of my guests couldn't make it. So I figured I'd go ahead and record something that was very personal to me and let you know about it. But I wound up years ago losing my voice. And I'm not talking about vocally. I could speak, I could sing, but my voice changed. And so if we go back a bit to when I first started in this industry, or even had an inkling that I was going to do this, 1988, I got in it because it was interesting and I had a good background. So I had a very good ear. You get born with that. I was a singer and I also was a very good listener. So I could mimic and imitate, and voiceover for me just fit. It was easy. It fit like a glove. And I took to it like a fish to water. And it wasn't a struggle. And it was one of those things that just naturally fit for me. Sometimes I'll see it in some of my students, but it's a very small percentage because, people have to figure out if voiceover is really going to be for them. I knew it from day one. So my voice became my focus for many years. And as a result, and my voice sounding pretty, I would get tons of compliments on it. It's smooth. The casting directors, your voice is as smooth and clear as a bell. And I would hear these beautiful comments. I was working in radio, working in radio. And, again, it was a beautiful, consistent sounding voice. It was who I was. And it became my identity. I'm not sure if that's something you can relate to, but it became my identity because that is what I was known for. That is what I had figured out early on I was good at. And so it became my focus of everything. So now we cut to 8 years prior to my father passing away. When my father died is when my voice changed. So 8 years prior is when my career started to really take off. It's when I started to get the big clients and I was making very good money. So there was a period of time that started about 2007. And I got Disney then. I was doing work for Pfizer, all these major clients. That started in 2007. And this is all 8 years before my dad passed. Then 2011, I got another network and I was working and having such a fantastic time and really enjoying the success that, you hope for in an industry with a craft that you love. So things were good, I was enjoying it. And then my father got sick and 2015 is when he passed. And after he passed, I started to get clients commenting on my voice, saying things like, this isn't the same woman. Where did she go? And I had such extreme tightness in my throat that I couldn't perform. I couldn't do what I used to do. And it was painful mentally and also painful to voice. I hated doing voiceover because it was such a struggle. I felt like someone was choking me, if you can believe it. So you don't know, I guess, how you're going to deal with the death of a close person in your life, my parent. But that's how my body reacted. So, of course, it went right to my moneymaker. It went right to the thing that had given me an identity for 20 plus years at that point. And it was really eye-opening for me, but not in a great way because I got very low. Brian Lee would hear me because I have a client down in the market that he still lives in. And he would say, Lynn, your voice sounds different. Why are you sounding like, and so people were detecting it, and that's not good because you want to get hired. And for a period of time there, I was nervous as all get out because I couldn't get my voice back to the way that it was. And that was really, really tough because that's also, like I mentioned at the beginning, it becomes your identity. And then it's like, well, now what? If I can't voice at the top of my game like I used to, what the heck am I going to do? And the identity takes over your whole life. It isn't just like you step into a studio and you're a voice actor. Now, you're a voice actor in everything you do. It bleeds into everything. It bleeds into your social life. It bleeds into your relationships. It bleeds into just going shopping and listening to voices and imitating and mimicking. It is a complete consumption of your world if you truly want to become a voice actor. So I didn't know what to do. And I went through bereavement therapy to try to see if I could figure it out. But that choking feeling was with me for probably 2 years. 2 years. And I was struggling to keep my clients, to keep the consistency the same. So for about a 2-year period of time, I went to vocal coaches. Again, I continued the bereavement therapy probably for about a year after my dad passed to try and figure out what was going on. Who the heck would know that your parent dying, suddenly your throat's going to close up. And that is what happened for me. So it was a very harsh realization about how maybe I shouldn't have been relying on my voice to be everything that I thought I was as my identity. But honestly, it's just so hard because you focus and you're like, I'm a voice actor. This is what I do. And yes, I'm going to go impress this person, and I'm going to get on radio, and I'm going to do all these amazing things. And then I'm going to get nicknamed like I was called One Take Linda because I would get my jobs done in one take. That became the goal. But then after you lose it, then what? So I guess this is something that a lot of people can go through once they have committed themselves to a passion. And it's very eye-opening, let's put it that way. So getting up on a high horse and saying, I'm making all this money doing voiceover and I'm incredible is really the worst thing in the world that you can do because none of us are safe. None of us are safe from health issues, death, the painful things in life. We're not safe from it. We have to learn how to work through it. So my process was a bit long. And then I finally started to get my voice back. But again, guys, it took like 2 years. And that's rough. That was a rough period of my life. And I couldn't tell anybody about it. Here, okay, there's the other part. You don't want to brag about it because you don't want people to start listening and going, oh, right, yeah, no, she doesn't sound the same. And, oh, she's doing this with her voice. And now it sounds, because that's all the stuff I was paranoid about in the beginning. Oh, my voice sounds like this. My voice sounds like that. And now I was going back to nitpicking. I was going back to staying in my head with performances, which meant I was not performing. I was too focused on, do I have the breath support? Am I completing this phrase? Am I convincing? But therapy, exercises, and shifting my focus as well mentally that says, hey, you're not just a voice actor, you are an actor. And let's focus on that and the uniqueness of that. And I had to find almost a different version of my performance. I'm not sure if this makes any sense to anybody, but I wanted to share it because it was such a huge part of my life and I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't admit it. You don't want to admit. Because let's put it this way, when you're making well into the 6 figures, you do not want to admit to anybody that you have a liability, that you have a failure point. The moment you put that into somebody's head, it creates doubt. And then it affects everything. So that kind of leads me to tell you as well, when you go into a session, don't apologize and be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that my voice isn't up to stuff. Don't apologize. Let them complain about you if they need to, but don't go ahead and give them the ammunition because then they might be listening for it. So it was really, a real mind screw. And you think, I'm doing so well. I'm doing so well. I'm accomplishing all the things I wanted. I'm making all this money. And then it's like, snap. Nope. You're going to wind up dealing with something very difficult in a physical way. Because you think, oh, I'll be sad. I'll be, emotionally burnt out and stressed. But no, it actually went to a physical part of my body. And just happened to be my voice. Yay. So there you have it. I told you I was going to reveal some personal stuff, and I never really fully talked about that because it is a sensitive subject, and it makes me vulnerable. Back then I was vulnerable, and it makes me vulnerable as a voice actor that the consistency wasn't there at that time. So I was protecting myself, trying to do the best that I can. So there you have it. There was a period of time that I did not have my voice, 2 years. And I struggled. But what lesson did I learn? Maybe you shouldn't define yourself by being a voice actor, Linda. Maybe you should do other things. Maybe you can be known for being a friend. Maybe you can be known for, right now, starting a community, getting people together. You don't have to always be a voice actor. Maybe you can start to identify as a mentor and a coach. And that the coaching probably saved me during that period because it gave me an outlet other than voiceover, so I could still feel some success while I worked through whatever, sadness issues were going through my head to try and get my physical voice back. Thanks for joining me, guys. Next time, hopefully my guest that canceled will be coming on the show. If not, it'll be somebody else. We'll make it work. All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Oh, join our community. I'm so bad at promoting. Voiceover.guru is a website, right? We have a community. It's a massive community now. It's becoming really big. The best part about it, it's a big family, supporting each other, pushing each other up in our projects and what folks are working on in all aspects of the voiceover business. So just head over there and join. It's free to join us, and hopefully we can meet you really soon. All right, ta-ta for now.